Every parent knows the relief of a sleeping baby. The chest rising and falling, the tiny fists curled beside their face, the sudden, beautiful quiet after what might have been a very long day. Most parents see sleep as the break, the reset, the window where nothing much happens and everyone recovers. But neuroscientists see something completely different when they look at a sleeping baby. They see a brain working harder than it does at almost any other point in the day, processing, organizing, consolidating, and physically building the structures that will determine how your child thinks, learns, and regulates their emotions for the rest of their life. Sleep is not the pause in your baby's development. Sleep is where the most important part of development actually happens. There is a specific process that unfolds inside your baby's brain during sleep that researchers now consider one of the primary drivers of cognitive growth in the first 3 years of life. It has been studied at some of the world's leading neuroscience institutions, and most parents have never heard a single word about it.
By the end of this, you will understand exactly what your baby's brain is doing while they sleep, why protecting that sleep is one of the most powerful things you can do for their development, and 3 simple things you can start doing today that work with your baby's sleep biology instead of against it. The quiet is not empty, not even close. Neuroscientists call it memory consolidation. And the researcher whose work transformed our understanding of what happens in a sleeping baby's brain is Dr. Matthew Walker, director of the Center for Human Sleep Science at UC Berkeley, whose decades of study produced findings that changed how the scientific community thinks about sleep and brain development entirely. The core discovery is this. During the day, your baby's brain collects every serve and return interaction, every new word that lands in their ears, every object their eyes track across the room, every emotional experience they move through, all of it is gathered and held in a temporary storage system in the brain called the hippocampus. But the hippocampus is small. It fills up quickly. And if the information stored there is not transferred somewhere more permanent, it fades. It simply disappears. That transfer happens during sleep, specifically during the deep, slow-wave sleep and the rapid eye movement sleep that cycle through your baby's night and through every nap across their day. During these phases, the brain replays the experiences of the waking hours, sorts them, strips away the irrelevant details, and moves what matters into long-term memory in the cortex. What your baby learned while awake gets permanently written into the structure of their brain while they sleep. Without that process, the learning does not stick. Picture this. Your baby spent the morning on the playmat. You narrated the colors of their toys. You responded to every sound they made. You leaned in when they pointed at the window and said, "Yes, that is the light coming through." In that single morning session, thousands of new neural connections were formed. New language patterns were mapped. New emotional memories were laid down. And then your baby went down for their nap. During that nap, something remarkable unfolded. The hippocampus began quietly replaying those morning experiences.
Not randomly, but selectively, identifying the patterns worth keeping and transferring them into permanent storage. The word you said for the light, the warmth in your voice when you responded, the connection between their signal and your answer. All of it was being written during sleep into the long-term architecture of their developing brain. A study published in the journal PNAS followed infants aged 6 to 12 months and taught them new words and concepts during a learning session, then split them into 2 groups. One group napped within 4 hours. The other group stayed awake. When both groups were tested later, the babies who had napped retained the new information significantly better than the babies who had not. The nap was not rest. The nap was the lesson completing itself. Dr. Walker describes sleep as the brain's save button. Everything your baby experiences while awake is only held in temporary memory until sleep presses save. Without the save, the file is lost. So what does this mean for how you approach your baby's sleep starting today? 3 things: practical, specific, and none of them require a perfect schedule or an expensive program. The first is this: treat naps as part of the learning, not a break from it. Every time you put your baby down for a nap after an engaged, responsive morning, you are not stepping away from their development. You are completing it. The nap is the second half of every lesson the morning taught. This one shift in how you think about sleep changes everything. It means the engaged, talking, responding morning you gave your baby was only half the equation. The nap closes the loop. So when your baby fights the nap and you feel the urge to skip it and keep going, remember what is waiting on the other side of that sleep. Everything you taught them this morning is sitting in temporary storage, waiting to be saved. The nap is the save button. Protect it like it matters, because it does. The second is protect the sleep environment without making it perfect. Your baby does not need total silence or a blackout room to get restorative sleep. What their brain needs is consistency. A sleep environment that feels the same each time signals to your baby's nervous system that it is safe to move into the deep, slow wave and REM cycles, where consolidation actually happens. A simple, repeatable wind-down routine, a feed, a song, a darkened room, the same soft words in the same quiet voice, trains your baby's brain to shift into sleep mode efficiently. You do not need a program. You need a pattern. The same small sequence of events, done the same way, tells your baby's brain that it is time to press save. The third is stop measuring sleep success only by how long your baby sleeps. Duration matters, but what matters just as much is the quality of the sleep cycle your baby moves through. A baby who wakes briefly between cycles and resettles is still consolidating. A baby who has multiple naps across the day is getting multiple consolidation windows for everything they are learning. Instead of counting hours, pay attention to how your baby wakes. A baby who wakes from a nap calm, alert, and ready to engage has likely completed a full consolidation cycle. That is the sign you are looking for, not a number on a clock. No sleep training program teaches your baby's brain to consolidate. No white noise machine writes new words into long-term memory. No app completes the learning your morning started. Only sleep does that. The protected, consistent, repeated sleep that happens in a home where a parent understands what is actually going on during the quiet. The fact that you are learning about what happens inside your baby's brain during sleep, instead of just trying to survive the exhaustion of it, says something real about the kind of parent you are becoming. You are the kind of parent who wants to understand what is actually happening, not just get through the day. And that impulse to understand is exactly what your baby needs most from you. Carry this with you today. Every nap your baby takes after a morning of warm, responsive connection is not a pause in their development. It is the moment everything you gave them gets permanently written into who they are becoming. The quiet is the work. If this changed how you see your baby sleep, subscribe to MotherCode. Every week we release new science-backed videos